Welcome to Hollow's End, which actually started Tuesday night when YouTube went down for an hour. On this episode, I chatted with Ryan and Thom about why we still play World of Warcraft. Let's start the gnome train!
Welcome to FrazlCast, a podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
Hello, Internet. It is Frazley the Awesome Gnome. Each week I am joined by awesome people from Azeroth and beyond. This is episode 77. Let's use my customized ultra-safe transporter to head on over to meet up with this week's guests. So I am live from the Smug Harbor Inn. Tonight I'm joined by Thom of the Blue Recluse, and I would have had Ryan, but we were running into some technical difficulty. You know, podcasting, things like that happen. Both of you are part of the Nerd This podcast and part of the Dragon Power Studios.
Hey, Frazley, it's good to be here. We ran into some tech issues, and we tried so hard to get Ryan on the show, but I wouldn't look at it as a negative that he's not here. I'm not getting too upset that he's not here. But I mean, it would have been great. Would have been great because Ryan likes to talk a lot about World of Warcraft, and he would have had some really insightful things to say, I'm sure. All positive, nothing negative about rating or anything like that. So that's just me kind of filling in for him there, and probably that's the kind of stuff he would have talked about. He might have complained about Destiny 2 if you'd let him, but I'm sure that would have been, stubbed out pretty quickly as well.
Well, and I can now play Destiny 2, which actually is a good segue into our next segment. Epicinsanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently?
Yeah, so I've been on the road. I make it sound like I'm in a band, but I'm not. I'm just... I can work from anywhere with my job, which is really fortunate. So my girlfriend's from Canada. So we've been making it a bit of a tradition to come to North America for a couple of months and to visit her family and just do things like that. So we flew to New York and we took a train to Montreal. Then right now we're just kind of sitting outside Toronto and eating way too many Tim Horton donuts, drinking too much Tim Hortons coffee, and kind of visiting Amanda's family. So that kind of crazy travelness has really put a bit of a dampener on my gaming time, but still, I still have the Hearthstone on the go, so that's always there, always playing some Hearthstone, doing some dailies. It's never too far away. Still logging into World of Warcraft before the show actually, and did a few world quests, and still having a bit of fun there in Battle for Azeroth. I feel like I've just missed so much over the past month because people have raced ahead and done all this stuff. And I'm like, I haven't even really done that many dungeons. I still haven't finished the, main storyline involving Jaina. In the end, I had to go look up spoilers because there was no way I was going to get through this, next month or two after BlizzCon without finding that out. So I've just gone ahead and spoiled the story, kind of read up about the story, really excited about how that's gonna progress, and just kind of traveling, getting air miles, Frazley, racking those air miles up.
Absolutely. And especially if you fly Gnome Air, it is the best because we give you free coffee on every flight. But I think actually Southwest and all of them do too.
I would only fly Gnome Air for short haul.
Oh, that went over my head. But I'm a gnome, so everything does. But glad to have you in the States. And I hear there's a rumor that we might be able to meet.
Yeah, so, I mean, the real reason why I come to North America, it's not because of my girlfriend's family. Of course it's not. That is a ruse. That is a ruse because when I'm back in Europe, I'm on a weird time zone from you, Frazley. This show is 2 a.m. in the morning. I couldn't get up and do that. I couldn't get up and be energetic and give you the proper version of me. No, I come to North America just to be on FrazlCast, and obviously we bill that expense to FrazlCast, and it's a really expensive guest fee, but worth it. worth it, right? And yeah, we're going to be traveling down to Florida, and hopefully we get to stop in Nomrigan on the way down and get to meet you, Frazley. So we're still finalizing some stops and everything like that, but yeah, it's hopefully going to happen.
And you would be the second and third, because Amanda just started Geek Hearing, so you'd be the second and third podcaster that I have met since starting FrazlCast.
Yeah, so the realm of Dragon Powered Studio is growing. We started Nerd This, and then not too long after, Amanda and one of our friends, actually, Monica, they started Geek Hearing, which it's more about kind of female empowerment in the geek universe and everything that goes with that. And they're raising some really good questions, some really good conversation over there. They've got 2 episodes out. I would definitely recommend checking that out. I think that podcast is going to be pretty huge, because they're just on this track with maybe getting people thinking about certain things in ways that maybe we're not doing by default.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of podcasting, is to be able to talk about things, get different perspectives, and that's really what makes it powerful. There's nobody saying you can't talk about this or that. Only you're the one who can say what you can talk about. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, there's so many different podcasts out there. There's something for everyone, and it's such a fantastic medium that you have access to, and you only have to see with Spotify kind of opening their gates to podcasting now, just maybe how popular it is. And we're seeing podcasts getting turned into movies and TV shows and everything. It's kind of crazy. Podcasting's back. I don't think it went away, but it's back.
Yeah, it's coming into the mainstream, I think, more, because I think people are tired of what they're hearing in the big market. I'm not saying big market and big media is bad, but people want to hear some of the voices, some of the overlooked gnome voices, and some of the voices that they're getting like on podcasts like Geek Hearing. I mean, so it is really finding a way to get more people out there. Very cool, and glad to have you. Yeah. I walk by Tim Hortons every morning, and if they had the same app like Starbucks, I might go to Tim Hortons. It's like I love both. They're both great.
You have a Tim Hortons in your area? I thought it was a Canada thing.
Oh yeah.
Although I did see one in New York. I saw one in New York, so I guess it's taking over.
We have them a lot in Columbus, because for a while I believe Wendy's owned Tim Hortons, and they became their own brands again.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in Dublin, which is the headquarter for Wendy's.
Right. Okay.
So of course, Columbus and Dublin will have Tim Hortons.
Well, I mean, the road trip is just planning itself, Frazley. We've got to get that Tim Hortons fixed. We're heading straight to Dublin, Ohio, when we cross the border, because as an America runs on Dunkin', well, Canada runs on Timmy's. I'm sure of it.
And roll up the rim to win. That used to be a thing that they did for a little while. I don't know if they still do it.
I have no idea.
And something I used to do? I used to play games mainly on the Mac. That changed a little bit. Last week, I finally got a PC! So I've been on the Mac for the longest time, and then I found at Micro Center, they had this PowerSpec G223 desktop computer. It was pre-built, because I didn't know about how to do all the different wires and things like that. So I was like, okay, I'll buy a pre-built to start.
You're a gnome, Frazley. You should know these things. Come on.
Well, I have to learn it. I have to learn from other people's creations and how they do it. I got that, and I've been playing around with it. In fact, right now I'm recording this episode on that. I'm going to be editing on my Mac, but I'm recording right now on the PC, so loving it.
Yep.
And yesterday, I set up my Echo Gear mount that I won from All Things Azeroth. This is an amazing mount. I now have 2 glorious monitors, so I can see Twitch chat on one screen. I can see you in the show notes on the other screen. And then I didn't get as much time to do WoW gaming the past few weeks. I had to get stuff ready for last week when I was going to Mesa. So instead, I saw a couple movies. So I saw First Man. Great movie. I got to experience my first Dolby Atmos cinema experience. Like the whole shitter's shaking, and it's like, whoa, we're in a movie. I mean, like this movie is like a lot of shaking and a lot of sounds. Like the whole theater was shaking as like.
Did your head explode? This reminds me of that kind of clip in The Simpsons where they're in the cinema and it's kind of this Dolby effect, and it's so loud that some guy's head explodes.
It was like that. It's like my drink starts like shaking, and I'm like, whoa. It was a great movie because it really talked about the personality behind people. So I recommend seeing First Man. It went to the human element. And then, speaking of humans, well, no, he wasn't really a human. It's a very bad tangent and very bad segue. But I saw Christopher Robin.
He's a human. He is a human. I can confirm he's a human.
but when I think of Christopher Robin, I think of Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh is not a human. Winnie the Pooh, I realized Winnie the Pooh is the imaginary friend of Christopher Robin. I just realized it finally.
No, he's not. He's real. He's real.
Okay, yes, he's real. Absolutely. My friend over there, Fredricus, he is real too. Hey, Fredricus, how you doing? No, Fredricus, put that down. Put that down. No, okay, no, okay. Step away. Okay, good. Sorry, my Fredricus likes to act up around here. But yeah, that was a great movie. I had seen that Marty had mentioned it, and I was like, you know what? I really want to see it.
I saw it as well. I enjoyed it. I kind of took my younger brother to see it, and I always expect a fairly decent movie when I go see Ewan McGregor. So I was just like, yeah, it's probably going to be good. It's probably going to be nice. It's a great family film. Tugs at the heartstrings in places. A little bit of a dark element to it as well, but not, too much because it is, it's supposed to be for kids and stuff, but a nice little underlying message actually that I think was very well represented with kind of the whole Winnie the Pooh world and that kind of story. Because I was never like really a big Winnie the Pooh fan or anything, but I was like, oh hell, Ewan McGregor, I'll go see that. I'll go see a film of Ewan McGregor. I like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend it if I think if you've got somebody a bit younger to take as well, not saying that you could just go see it without somebody younger, because you totally could and probably have a good time. But like it's nice to kind of go and see a movie if you're, taking a younger sibling or something, that it's something you got some benefit out of as well. And I know I certainly did.
I loved the theme of don't forget your history. Don't forget to have fun. There's a lot of deep meaning to unpack in it. And I think I could do like a whole podcast on it. And in a way, we're going to do a podcast on unpacking WoW and why we won't forget why we love WoW. It was great. Along while watching the movie, I wanted a spoonful of sugar because the medicine goes down. And I saw the most delightful trailer that's going to talk about Mary Poppins. So I love the new Mary Poppins trailer. I'm excited to see it. Like it was like every little bit of fan service you need for Mary Poppins was there. So I'm excited.
This is Mary Poppins 2, isn't it? The sequel.
Mary Poppins, The Return. Now, not like a horror movie. Like, I'm Mary Poppins. I'm returning.
This Halloween, you will eat your sugar.
And you know how it goes down? Not the medicine, with my knife. Okay, that was very...
Wow. Holy crap. You just ruined loads of people's childhood there, Frazley.
I know. And somebody who can never ruin my childhood... I'm just like jumping from subject to subject, but I've got shown up people, so this is not just rambling. I watched Skyscraper on the airplane. I needed a movie that was just a popcorn movie. Everyone said Skyscraper was a movie that when you watch it, it is just that experience that you'll watch it, you'll have fun, and then you'll forget about it. And I enjoyed it. It's like, hey, The Rock going through all these different things, like jumping and stuff like that, and like fighting fires. And having a cool megaplex skyscraper thing. It had everything that I wanted from the movie. So I loved it.
You've just described every film with The Rock in right there.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like, hey, The Rock, keep making these movies because I like them. I like a movie that I could just sit and enjoy and not be offended at anything. So it's great. So I loved it. And like The Rock's character has some amazing upper body strength. He's like climbing here and there. I'm like, I could never do that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I feel like he was a wrestler in a past life or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that almost went over my head. But thankfully I'm tall enough that I caught that one. Then my nephew won first place with his Fortnite llama costume. Woo. So my nephew took a big cardboard box and another cardboard box, combined them together, and they created this llama costume. And looking at the llama in Fortnite and then looking at my nephew's costume, it is amazing. Awesome job. And it's one of the first Fortnite things that I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I mean, I'm not against Fortnite. It's not my game.
Whoa, Frazley, Fortnite hating on FrazlCast right there.
I don't understand this Fortnite stuff because is it a Minecraft building thing or is it a first-person shooter FPS? I don't get it. And then like,
it's when two great franchises come together, Frazley, Minecraft and PUBG, boom, there you go, Fortnite right there.
Okay, because like I'm like running around, and when I played Fortnite once, I have it installed on this computer now because that way when my nephew comes over, I can actually play Fortnite with him. So it's installed here. The last time we played together, I was like, where do I go? What do I do? He's like moving around, building stuff, and I'm barely able to like get the person that is attacking me. I'm like, I guess I'm just too old for Fortnite or something.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was coming off as like a Fortnite lover, but yeah, I don't really get it because you go into the mindset of, do I build or do I shoot or do, I want to just go hide and, live a good life, maybe cut down a few trees. I'm not a man of violence. I just want to ride this storm out, build a shelter, and we can all get through this together. But actually, I was around at one of Amanda's, my girlfriend's family, and one of her cousins, and she had small kids, and they were like, Fortnite, ah! So I got kind of dragged into a room where they were playing Fortnite, and then they're like, here, you play it. You're probably like, show us how to play it. And I was like, well, this is how you run and this is how you duck. And they were like, whoa. They didn't really know the basic controls and stuff. It was quite hilarious. But I mean, I could probably see the appeal. Fast paced, easy to kind of keep, start a new game. You don't have to hang around. Yeah, I think I'm just at a stage in my life where, yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me. But I can see why it's become a big thing. And being free to play, I think that helps a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because people can just, try it out. They can experiment with it. Even if, they don't like it, they'll probably still give it a go. I mean, you gave it a go. I gave it a go. Probably most people in your circle have given it a go, even just one game. That kind of accessibility leads to, a lot of people trying it, and, something stuck there. And now it's just a heck of a lot of people playing it all the time.
Kids are enjoying it. And it's one of those, if someone's enjoying it, I'm really not going to honestly dog it, but it's not my thing. But hey, at least kids are having fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we're going to maybe talk about something along these lines with Warcraft, but I was sitting there watching, these young kids playing Fortnite, and they were enjoying it. They were loving it. And I was sitting there going, actually, maybe it's not so bad. Actually, I couldn't wait to get my turn because I wanted to play it. I was just feeding off their energy of joy. And it was just a strange thing just to sit there. And over the past, 6 months, I've been like, I tried Fortnite. I really didn't get into it. Maybe I was just playing with the wrong people because I was playing with, Marty and Michael from the Recluse and Ryan and Dusty from, the Blizzard umbrella. I was like, maybe I'm just playing with the wrong people. They don't get me. But I was sitting there and, I had some good feels. So definitely sometimes maybe it's just the people you play with. No, I'm just kidding. I love those guys. It was just me. It was all me.
I now have Rocket League and PUBG as well, so we can play that at some point.
Oh yeah, Rocket League. Oh man, Rocket League all the time.
That's a great game.
Now I have a PC. It's just, yeah.
I played Rocket League on the PS4. I've not played the PS4 recently because ever since I moved to the Mac gaming, I like having it on the computer. But I love Rocket League on the PS4 because it's just mindless fun. It's mindless. You
are in a great place with video gaming now because you've got your PC. You've got your PS4, and I don't know if you've got a Nintendo Switch.
No.
Okay, so that'll be the next thing. And I know Flame Flash in the Blue Recluse Discord was talking about, you got your PC, you got PS4, you got your Nintendo Switch, then you are covered. You have all your bases covered, and I would agree with him. I still have yet to pick up the Nintendo Switch. I really want to, especially now that there's a Diablo kind of special edition console coming out, along with kind of the release of Diablo 3 for the Switch, and the prospect of being able to play Diablo 3 on the go kind of excites me as well, even though I don't really play it that much these days on my computer. But it's just something fun about being able to sit on a bus or a train or an airplane and playing like a game you really love and are familiar with. That's a dream.
Absolutely. And I'm definitely still looking at the Switch in the future, because this was a huge purchase for me. And then something else I purchased this past week is I got a Twitch emote from Pirate Poots. So Pirate Poots did the gnome train, and they also made a facepalm emote for me because I like to make people facepalm. You probably have seen it in the Blue Recluse Discord. I've been adding a reaction on stuff.
Yeah, lots of face palming. There is a lot to face palm, especially over there on the Blue Recluse. I haven't been there for the past couple of weeks. I mean, I was there 2 weeks ago, but visits to the Blue Recluse have been very infrequent, and I cannot hold any responsibility for the drop in quality over there. And all I can do is apologize and just keep face palming. Really, just keep face palming. I'll be back soon to restore order. Yeah, Yeah, if you speak to other guys, they probably tell you a whole different story. But don't trust those guys. Don't trust those guys at all.
I trust all of them, and I especially trust Michael, because Michael and I have become bosom buddies and stuff like that, and we are, and we're talking about a project that I won't talk too much about because I don't want to let slip anything.
I might have heard about that. My lips are sealed.
It's a lot of fun, but so it'll be coming up in a little while, so I'm excited for that.
Excited about that.
In WoW itself, just working on world quests for eye level and rep, finishing up more story quests. And I finally saw Bon Somdi. I was in one of the quests, and I was like, "There is Bon Somdi." I keep hearing about them, and he's right there.
Did you get him? Did you take him out?
No, he just kept going. I mean, in the area, you just hear like this, and it sounds like it's Bon Somdi talking. I mean, listen to his voiceovers. You hear the.
It's like, dude, have a tic tac.
Yes, and then last night, I got the Waste of Time Transmog. I ran with the Worgen's Howl group howl, and we had a lot of fun.
Was it a waste of time?
It wasn't a waste of time. It's really cool. It's missing the little dongle thing that it had. It used to have like a dongle that hung low.
A pendulum, was it? Or?
Yeah, a pendulum, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's go with pendulum, not dongle. Dongle sounds a bit weird. That's why they removed it. People were calling it a dongle.
Yep. So it's still cool though. So you have a clock on your waist.
Yeah, I mean that's important. That's important. So you don't miss your meetings, don't miss your raids, turn up on time for certain events and everything in game. You know, it's very important. Timekeeping is a quality that you should be prioritizing in your life. It's not a waste of time.
Now, how would you check your time? Because like, would you be leaning over to look at your belt? Like, okay, okay. Is it upside down on your belt so that way you can look at it at your belt, or is it right side up and you have to like kind of like twist and turn and stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess it's quite awkward. You'd be maybe angling your lower body in certain ways that might get you some strange looks. I don't know. I this is dangerous subject, Frazley. But yeah. You could always ask a member of your party to perhaps check the time for you. Or maybe that just puts us in a bigger hole. I don't know. Maybe we should move on with this.
Yeah, we should move on to another dangerous topic. So there's been a lot of talk recently about supposed leaks of sub numbers, talks about the state of WoW. I don't want to talk about those. Not that I don't want to be objective, but I kind of want to instead talk about why do we still keep playing WoW?
If you'd asked me this question a year ago, perhaps, I would probably be saying to you, Frazley, I think I've fallen out of love with WoW. I don't really have that passion for the game anymore. And I think even when I was last on your show, I was talking more about classic WoW because I was talking about how I lost that spark inside. And, that was okay. And like the story elements of Battle for Azeroth leading up to the launch, it really got me into the game again, really got me invested in the faction pride. I started wearing t-shirts with Anduin's face on it and changing my backgrounds and my PC monitor to the Alliance. And I was getting really invested in the story, and I listened to the audiobook and just starting to take in all these things from around not just the game, but outside material, which when you start doing that, and maybe you start listening to podcasts as well, and just people talking about the story and the debates and, theory crafting about, what's going to happen, it just ignites something inside of you that, you feel part of something, you have an opinion on something, and you kind of want to know where this story is going. And I think everything that conspired with, the burning of Teldrassil and, what's going to happen to Saurfang and, things like that, it was asking a lot of questions, and I was looking forward to finding out those answers. And Battle for Azeroth, and we know we're not going to go into what could maybe be done better, but there's still this element of the story there that's exciting. That's we've defeated a big bad with the Legion, but there's going to be another big bad. We know that. We know N'Zoth is going to be making an appearance, and we still not sure how that's going to entirely play out. So while I wouldn't say I am as hooked into Warcraft, like I wouldn't be playing 5 hours a day, 6 hours, 7, 8 hours a day, maybe like I was when I was a lot younger, because your priorities change, your perspectives change, and just, your life changes. And, I'm still traveling right now, but I've been logging in every few days, doing a few world quests, and I'm at a strange time because I'm logging in the middle of the night back in Europe. So I don't really see anyone around, and I'm kind of going around these areas. I can almost hear the crickets chirping, and it's just that kind of atmosphere of almost silence, that you're in a zone and there's no one else around. And sometimes that's a bit comforting for me, just playing that right now. It's the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, I'm doing a few world quests. And when I was leveling up, I put war mode on, actually, because that really ignited some danger within the zones for me. And especially with this whole alliance versus horde, it really got that exciting. But yeah, I've rambled on a bit here, and I'm not really sure, like, my defining reason to give you is like why I still love WoW, because it's a really complex tree. There's a lot of branches, and I would probably say, the community is a big part of that. I do a podcast. I'm always kind of looking for the positives in World of Warcraft, and a lot of times parts of the community feed into that as well. I'm sitting here right now talking to you about World of Warcraft because of this game, and for me, I would class that as an extension of the game as well. And it might be a bit of a cop-up, but I know last time you were on the Blue Recluse, you almost said that playing World of Warcraft to you is playing World of Warcraft, but it's also everything else that encompasses that, with the community and the interactions you have with people, because that wouldn't exist without World of Warcraft. So I think perhaps like me and you, Frazley, a lot of the things to do with World of Warcraft, we're keeping the community perspective of that at heart with everything we do.
Yeah. So, Thom, you're talking about keeping the community alive. And tonight, with the fact that Twitch keeps crashing on me, and we're trying to get Ryan on, guess who showed up and we got to work? Ryan!
The irony is Thom messaged me like 15 minutes before. He's like, where are you? We need to do a sound check. I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. Not the case.
It's all on Ryan. I've been covering for you during this show, Ryan. I've been saying, it's probably just as well you're not on the show, because we're going to be talking about the positives of WoW. And I'm like, this guy, he's going to have a lot of things to say, and I don't know if we're going to be able to keep our heads above the water. But now you're here. You've kind of burst in. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I was just cussing and yelling and super mad at Microsoft because they decided to turn a bunch of settings off with an update, and then a Windows restore worked for all of 20 seconds, and then the settings turned off again.
Oh,
Microsoft, if I don't turn my computer off and I don't touch it, why are you changing things without my permission?
This is what I'm talking about, listeners. He's coming in, he's already being negative. It's just, he can't just be grateful he's here. He's got to slam Microsoft. Sorry, Bill.
I'm not sorry, Bill.
Tonight's episode is sponsored by Windows 10. So use coupon code Frazley when you're on the Microsoft Store.
Bye.
It's not sponsored by Windows 3.1 because, that's where you want to be at.
Windows Me. That's where it's at.
Oh, yes.
Now we're all over the place. We're talking about the WoW community. I had just talked for about 10 minutes straight about what brings me love in World of Warcraft, and I kind of nailed it down to the community being a big part of that reason. And I said, Frazley, I think we're on the same page here, man. Don't you agree? And Frazley was about to say, yes, Thom, but then Ryan burst in. So that's where we're at right now.
One of the reasons I wanted to bring Ryan on, and why I thought Ryan would be a perfect one. Ryan, you've got the perspective of raiding, and you've got the perspective of the Azurite armor. I'm not going to link to it because I'm not going to talk. I don't want it to be the discussion point. But there's a video by Asmongold about WoW, and there's been a lot of talk and different things about Azurite armor. As a raider, as somebody who's in right now on a system that's people are upset with, why do you still love WoW at the current point?
It's funny that you asked that question, because I actually was thinking about this earlier today. I am typically someone who likes to find something that I can completely throw myself at. And divest everything I have into it. I certainly can hop onto Rocket League and play for 30 minutes and have some fun. The same with Fortnite or some of these other games, but that's not really what gets me going. I like something that I could completely devote myself to. And with WoW, I have that opportunity. So then when I look at other games that have that potential as well, none of them have withstood the test of time, so to speak. WoW has constantly been around, hasn't died out. Even in its worst state, it stayed alive. to me, it's just something that really, with raiding and the strategizing and the coming together with 19 other people in a mythic group, potentially more in a flex raid, figuring out the strats, beating something that you're struggling with, and constantly upgrading your character. Those are all things that just really give me fulfillment. Now, obviously, I have some qualms with those specific issues within that, but the overall picture, that's what really keeps me going. This is this constant sense of progression, whether it be from a content perspective or, my character.
I think both of you bring up points that are why I love the WoW is I love the community, but I love that constant progression. I mean, I haven't even touched LFR yet. I still need to touch LFR, but my character is progressing. My account is still progressing. My honor progresses. I can put all this time and invest into a game, and I don't feel like it's going to go away. I've seen too many games, City of Heroes, WildStar. I mean, I've seen too many games go away after a point. But WoW, there's something about it that has kept it going.
Yeah, that's a good point you raise, actually, because I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people get so upset. The fact that, say, just for example, Ryan, like Destiny 2 comes out and you play it for a bit, then you get to the end game and you're like, nah, there's not much to do. But because that's only been out for, X amount of months, it doesn't seem to be too difficult to say, well, I gave it a go, it wasn't for me, and you move on to something else. Whereas the problem we have with World of Warcraft is some people have been playing for so many years that they got to a point now where maybe they're not happy with the game. And that's okay. That's totally fine, because we've all been in stages where, maybe we're not feeling the game. We kind of log in and go, what are we doing? We're idling around the city, and then we log out. That's totally understandable because of how long the game's been out. But then also there's this mindset of, I've put so many years into this game. I can't walk away now. I can't walk away. And I'm logging in, but I don't enjoy the game. And then suddenly there's just this weird reaction in your head where it makes you angry because you're like, I can't walk away. I can't walk away. I put too much time in this. You actually can walk away, but it's just because you've been so invested for so long, and you feel like, if I walk away now, I've wasted 14 years, or, I've wasted however many years you play this. But when you look back at something, you go, well, did I form friendships? Did I, have memorable moments? That time is not wasted. It's just like anything in life. You'll have memories of something where you put some time into something, and maybe, it's over. That's the end of it, because that's just how life goes. Nothing lasts forever. And one day World of Warcraft is not going to exist anymore, or, that's going to change. Something's going to happen there. And it's just coming to a sort of reasoning with yourself that it's okay to back away from something that's not giving you enjoyment, or, it's causing almost pain to you to play it. And like, I've never reached that place where I've been like sitting in World of Warcraft and like, oh, this is so pain. I can't bear to be playing this, but I have to do a world quest, or, I'm just like, no, I'll just log off. I'll subscribe for a couple months. I'll go to my Steam library and start trying to play some games that I bought and never played there. We're spoiled with games that I find the whole argument of I'm going to get angry at the developers for this game, because yeah, sure, there's stuff that maybe isn't going your way, but you can put forward those points. And if those changes aren't going to happen overnight, it's okay to step back and maybe revisit that with an update, or, even a new expansion, because that's just how games work now, that if it's not for you, there's usually another update that can change things quite a lot, that maybe it gets you back into it. Look at No Man's Sky, for example. But it's just that kind of evolution in video gaming now, that something that was once your soul and true love might not be anymore.
So let me ask you this, Thom. I think for the most part, I completely agree with you in the sense that, if you're not finding fulfillment out of something, there's nothing wrong with stepping away to find that source of fulfillment in another place. But let's say from the perspective of a raider, that somebody who really enjoys researching their class, going over logs after every fight, finding those little things that can max min, working with their team to develop a strategy that best fits their raid comp to overcome a boss and encounter. The game has been working, the game has been great, and then Blizzard makes a decision that arguably breaks the game or makes that thing no longer fun. At that point, is it okay for them to be not necessarily upset. I don't think you should ever be upset or yell or attack Blizzard, but maybe to be frustrated or question why they haven't come to the conclusion sooner that, this needs to be reverted. This needs to be changed back. This is not working. We're losing the amount of players who once found fulfillment. They're leaving because this is no longer as good as it once was, because we made a decision to try something different, and that difference is not working. Where does that fall for you?
Yeah, I know if you're kind of leading a raid, or you've got that responsibility, that when things aren't exactly kind of the way you want those cards to fall, it's probably really frustrating, because if you're trying to progress in a certain way, and I guess I'm probably not the right guy to give you the balanced answer you want to hear, because my raiding days happened from kind of classic to Wrath of the Lich King. That's when I was really involved in leading a guild, and it's probably a terrible example, but I'll just say it anyway, that when we were doing Molten Core, and we were leading a raid, and we had people in there that wanted to be Retribution Paladins. They wanted to be DPS Paladins. Back in Classic, that was just a little bit ridiculous. It wasn't optimal, but we were kind of in a guild where we're like, well, you know what? You can do it. If that's how you want to play a game, that is fine. And we had a druid who wanted to tank. The druids had 3 specs in vanilla, but only healing was really optimal. So we just had, people that were like, well, I'll just try and figure this out and make it work. And I feel like these days, that kind of whole process of figuring stuff out is gone, because there's so many guides. There's so many people telling you how to play the game now, that kind of era of discovery is gone. In a way, it's a bit sad that it is, because the joys of figuring out, when a fresh game comes out and you're figuring stuff out for the first time, there's some real excitement in that. And the fact that these days now everything is documented, we've got all this data farming, everything's known before it's even released. So a lot of that magic is gone. I can definitely sympathize with you, Ryan, that, if you're trying to organize something, you're trying to get people together, and, maybe you've got like part of your team demoralized that they're not logging in, and it's tough work being a guild leader and organizing that, because it is a second job, because you're motivating people, you're organizing. It can be exhausting, because it definitely takes a lot. It's not just something that you can log in and it happens. And I know those days. I've been part of those days. Raiding is now like the thing to do at endgame if you want to probably play WoW with an edge of competitivism. If you want that challenge, that's where you go, or you do your mythics, or the dungeon mythics. But I mean, that's where you would want to rest. And I all I can do is sympathize with you, Ryan, because I don't really raid anymore, but I can definitely understand why that would be frustrating.
I guess just to put things in perspective from my end, to kind of iterate to anyone listening, that I'm not necessarily disagreeing with Thom. The first thing I tell any of my raiders is, hey, look, we all pay our $15 for our own reasons. If at any point in time you decide this game is no longer for you, or you don't have time for it, you have my full-hearted blessing and good tidings to take a step back and go do what you got to do. First and foremost, if you don't have the time to commit to it or the desire to commit to it, you're probably going to show up a bit half-hearted and not be, as viable as we need you to be in a mythic group per se. And for 2, the biggest importance, I know I said for 2, but the biggest importance is, if you're just not happy, then you should be happy. You should be feeling like you're getting your $15 worth. I guess for me to go forward from there, the frustration lies not in the sense that they've broken the game, or I'm forcing myself to continue to do something I don't enjoy. I fully enjoy what I'm doing. I think that is partly why some of us do get so frustrated, is I really do enjoy this. And when I look around and I see a plethora of people who were completely adequate players who really enjoyed the game, and all of a sudden Blizzard makes changes that deter them from playing, I'm okay with some of the changes that might deter certain people, because everybody has their own cup of tea they prefer. But if that change is either making things infinitely more harder to do, or take infinitely more amount of time to do, those are changes that might need to be revamped and relooked at. Obviously, like Frazley said, we could go into this Asmongold thing and the Azerite armor, and that's a whole different rabbit hole. And I certainly won't succumb you guys to that pain. But I think those are some types of changes that Blizzard might need to say, hey, look, obviously we made an effort to try and improve things. but this is arguably not improving things. We're losing players, we're losing interest. But again, like Thom said, those changes aren't going to happen overnight. And if you're not going to be happy until those changes do happen, if they ever happen, it's completely okay to go find something else. There, like as Thom said, there are plenty of games out there. I know Steam has a bunch of them. Tom's a big fan of Steam.
I'm not trying to tell people that if they don't like WoW to just unsubscribe, because I think that is too of an extreme. But this whole thing made me wonder, why do I play WoW? And it was making me think, with so many games out there, so many multiplayer games, so many single player games. I mean, Fallout 76 is coming out in the next few months. I mean, we have so many games coming out, and WoW is a time sink by design as an MMO. Why do I play it? I think everyone should be reevaluating. Make sure you're playing for the right reasons.
And your reason is pet battles, right? That's why you play?
Yep. Mythic pet battles.
Oh yeah, especially with the number gun pet battle mentioned. I actually need to get into pet battles more. The reason I play again is it's a world I can live in. It's a world I can collect things with. It's a world that multiple people can play the games differently. I mean, the fact that Ryan can do raiding and I can attempt LFR and mythics, but I can also collect stuff. I can go around and do Hollows End stuff. There's so much to do in it that I love that part of it.
Totally is. I mean, maybe you play the game a certain way that, for example, maybe you've never gone on a roleplay server, only that one time where your server was down and you rolled a level 1. And actually, I went on to a roleplay server and I recorded a little YouTube series once. And it was really enlightening, actually, that, there's a lot of people on there that are making content because they are, creating scenarios, creating stories. And sometimes, if you do love a game that much, that you can just switch your perspective a little. Maybe you've been like a hardcore raider, but you're totally burned out. But maybe you've never really took the time to do PvP or arena or, something like that you can just switch your perspective and maybe try something else within the game and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, you're trying different things and you're like, yeah, you know what? I am just kind of done with WoW at the minute. That's totally okay as well. I know Marty over from the Blue Recluse, he was big raider. This expansion, he's kind of gone into I'm going to be taking a step back from that because, I've got real life. I'm just not feeling that anymore. Maybe just I will go back to it. But right now, it's just not for me. And switching your perspective in a game like World of Warcraft, like you say, Frazley, there's so many different things you can do. And I think when you log in, sometimes you almost forget everything that is there. I think sometimes it's just a little awkward maybe to get in. Maybe you want to do some pet battle. Maybe you want to do like a pet battle dungeon or, but you're like, oh, where do I start? Oh, you look at your achievements and you go, oh, I need to collect like 50 pets in Eastern Kingdom. You're like, no, actually, you know what? Forget about that. Or you just have all these choices and sometimes you just don't really settle on something. And then at the same time, you don't really give something a chance as well. I mean, that is the problem when there's just kind of all these little aspects that make up a game like World of Warcraft, that it's sometimes easy to overlook everything that's there. And maybe that is something that Blizzard don't do perfectly. I mean, they have the journal thing that they put in where you can kind of look at it and decide to do something. But I feel like that could be a bit better as well, at kind of saying, well, there's this quest line that, that you missed or, something like that. But that's obviously, probably something that will get refined in the future as more features get added. But how about you, Ryan? Do you ever kind of, you're the rating guy. People call you the rating guy. That's your name. They don't call you Ryan. They call you the rating guy.
Yes, I can confirm that.
But do you ever log in and go, you know what, today, I'm not going to go farm another stack of strength potions for the guild bag. I'm going to go do some PvP or, just totally shake it up, because I don't know what you do as a raider. Obviously you have this problem checklist you have to hit every week with regards to certain things, but do you ever just feel like logging in some days and just saying F that just doing something that you maybe wouldn't normally do?
All the time, man. And that's one of my biggest gripes about Blizzard at this moment is I would like to be able to feel like I can explore every avenue of the game that does provide me some sort of fulfillment without feeling like I'm neglecting something else, because I ultimately want to play the game in a certain capacity. Like I've already stated, I really, to me, I've raided hardcore enough for so long that with a decent group of people, I find the lower difficulties of the raids relatively easy and boring. pretty quickly. So I want to continue to push through Mythic to provide that sort of challenge. But like you were saying, when I'm not in the raid on off nights, I would like to be able to go play alts. I would like to be able to maybe switch to a Windwalker and go PvP for a bit, or maybe like I've been reading all of the WoW books lately, and I'd like to maybe go run through some of the old content to say, oh, that's, because like I'm starting to remember things back when I did that expansion that at that time, like I didn't really understand. And now I do. And it's like, oh, okay, I kind of want to go revisit that. But as a guild leader, as one of the main tanks, obviously haven't hit my own share of the fulfillments we require from our raiders, on top of trying to be, a good example and not being on an alt when I arguably should be running some Mythic Pluses. It makes it hard sometimes. It's a trade-off, but yeah, no, absolutely.
And you make a great point, because I don't do the ratings, so I have the time to do alts. I have the time to make a podcast about World of Warcraft, and then also a fake news report podcast about World of Warcraft. But if I went into rating, I wouldn't have that time, and I wouldn't have time to do some of the stuff that I love to do.
And your 7 other podcasts that you make because of Frazley, don't forget about those.
Yes, absolutely. And then also adding in work and school and getting steps.
I get worried when you are playing World of Warcraft. I'm like, he's not editing his podcast. There's something wrong.
Oh yeah. I play during the week. I can't play as much over the weekends because this show has to be edited over the weekend. Well, I almost sounded like the bumper for Dragon Power Studios. This show.
You did actually. This show.
It's brought to you by Dragon Power Studios. Actually, this show is brought to you by Dragon Power Studios. Yeah. Thank you to Dragon Power Studios.
I think all three of us on here, all of the shows we're on are powered by Dragon Powered Studios. So
powered by the good old Dragon Fire.
Yeah.
And can we nerd this up anymore?
Misplug.
I still am hoping for the day I can come on and talk about stuff on Nerd This, because I love hearing you guys talk about Nerd This. I'm like, I want to talk, but I don't have time to do all the geeky stuff that you guys talk about. Like, to talk about all these comic books. Like, who has time to read comic books nowadays?
I don't think we've talked about comic books yet, but yeah, I love the way we're just gonna like turn our attention from Warcraft for a minute, because I guess we didn't really talk about this because Ryan was not at the start of the show.
My apologies.
And we just brushed that off really quickly because we were in a bit of a fluster. But I mean, we can go back there for a couple of minutes if you want, Frazley, or we can continue the Warcraft talk. I don't know. Do we need like a few minutes to recover, or you're the host here. I don't want to start directing your show.
So Ryan, so what have you been up to recently? Because you raid. So I was just curious, what's new with you?
Raids.
Okay.
I don't go to work. I don't, raids. No. What's
He's
new?
Got the raids real good.
So this is probably more Nerd This topic, but I recently have started rewatching all of the Stargate TV series.
Ooh, I need to watch those.
I am a Stargate fan. I know. Yes, for all of you haters, I even like Stargate Atlantis. Yeah, I've been doing that lately. Like I said, I've been reading a lot of the WoW books. I actually have been preparing to start some new projects that I will be able to announce here soon. Mm-hmm. Kind of slightly game related, not so game related. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say without giving away too much before we're ready.
It's like 2 drops on this show tonight, Frazley. Like your project with Michael and now Ryan. And like I'll have a project coming out soon. Maybe not the
And I've got an announcement that's not from me.
You're
but
pregnant.
If you watch, yes, I'm gonna have a baby girl.
It's a gnome.
Yes. So there's a Twitter out there called Helicon Gaming, and they have been promoting something happening at TwitchCon. So I am anxiously wondering what's going to happen. So I'm watching that. So hey, I figured, I might as well add another special drop. Just all these teasers for stuff. So now that I've heard from both of you on what keeps you playing and stuff like that, I was asking the community why they still love WoW. I got some comments from the Sparkspans community on Discord. So Nihar said, I wouldn't say I love WoW, but I do like it because the devs are able to recover from their problems and try their best in improving the game instead of giving up on it. And I think that is true, that with the issues, it's not perfect. There are issues with WoW, but they are working to improve it. We just don't know when. Ali Dungeon Fable said, I love the art of the zones, the music, and the leveling experience. And then Alice said, I love WoW because I love Warcraft. When I was little, my cousin showed me Warcraft 2, and I instantly fell in love with the whole thing. The lore in Warcraft 3 plus the map editor were amazing. And then a World of Warcraft was coming out. Count me in. Storytelling in WoW improves year after year with cinematics and in-game scenes. It makes every experience a new, fun lore opportunity waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And then the voice from Chicago says, I love the story of the world and the social aspect of the game. Plus, it's a great stress reliever just to go out there and complete some quest after a long day of work. And then Grave Rob said, I love the diversity of the lore, with each character in place having a wonderful and sometimes devastating backstory, sometimes hidden well beneath the surface. It adds to the immersion, kind of like reading a book, while standing alongside the characters, feeling the words you've read.
Yeah, beneath the surface. Characters beneath the surface.
Like Mechanomes coming out in 8.2.
Whoa, spoilers, Frazley. Never play that spoiler sounder right there.
Gadzooks, spoiler warning. And they're spewing out of us like blood and old deer. I've heard there's a lot of blood and vomit and poop and old deer. Is that right?
That's just from the Raiders, but yeah.
All the blood, sweat, and tears.
You would.
I just wanted to touch on something. I think it was the voice from Chicago, kind of the social aspect of the game, because I feel like that is something that we kind of talked about with the community. But I think when you're actually in the game, if you have people, in your guild who, you probably have those couple of go-to people that you're like, oh yeah, let's do a dungeon, or people that you always know are around, and maybe you jump on Discord and you're chatting with them. And while I don't really have that to a degree with the guild I'm in right now, there is like somebody in particular in the guild who I'm like really close to, but aside from my girlfriend who's also in the guild, but we kind of log in together a lot and do like world quests together and do things like, and it definitely enhances the experience when you're playing with somebody, because when you kind of log in by yourself, you can get stuff done, and sometimes you can maybe be a bit more efficient because you know where you're going. But sometimes there's just something magical about, playing alongside somebody and exploring the world and being like, oh, look, there's a chest over there. Come on, let's go. And especially if you have like war mode on or something as well, because, you feel just that little bit more safer. But I definitely feel like if I wasn't playing Warcraft with somebody more on the full-time side, that I probably wouldn't be as into it anymore, because I just feel sometimes you just need somebody else to, keep you company, and you kind of laugh about things, you experience things together and talk about things and kind of guide each other as well. And I definitely would miss that if I didn't have it.
And that's one thing that Ryan, I'm betting you can attest to. I've been amazed with the raid teams, that social nature, that you're in the raid, but you're also growing together as friends.
Yeah, man. I've made so many lifelong friends through this game. In December, I'll be in Boston. I will be a groomsman and a buddy's wedding who I met through WoW. My best friend growing up and we've gone to BlizzCon together. I've met Thom and you and Dusty and Marty and Michael. Another buddy of mine from New York, he's flown down to visit me back when I was living in Texas, and he and I stay in touch. And I've gotten to the point now where there's a few people, both people I grew up with, my brother, as well as some other raiders that I've raided with for a long time now, that I've made it a point to say, hey, obviously I have this goal of building TRC out. It's a mythic guild that is kind of supposed to go in conjunction with the Raiders Confessional podcast. But if at any point my ability to play with certain people stops because of any of that, I will absolutely change it around to retain the ability to play with, a handful of specific people. A few of them have, stepped away at times, but it's always been a sense that was their choice, so it's been okay. But to me, friends and family in real life always take precedence, and so in order to play with those guys, I'll do what it takes to do that. And so, I usually, even if I've already done my guild required mythic plus 10 a week, I'll hop on if they need something done, and I'll go play with them, because that's my way of hanging out with them. One of them in specific is Cole, who used to be on the Raiders Confessional. He's been my best friend growing up, and we don't live near each other anymore. And so that's our way of hanging out. So I always make time for them. Michael Hyde
and Mike Levine, they're actually, from what I understand, moving away in physical locality, but they will play WoW together. And I know Tosh Mifune and Professional Leap of the Half-O Report will also play WoW together. And it's what keeps them going. It's those groups. there's nothing better than a group of people that you're running with. I mean, I love when I can run with a group of people that I know, and like you have all the in jokes, you'll get each other, you jive. It's like Thom doesn't want any of that, so he chose to play on the EU side, so that way he wouldn't ever be able to run with any of us.
Classic is coming, and I've already made the commitment that I'm going to be rolling NA server if we even get a server choice. I don't know, maybe we just get put on the same server and we have massive login queues, and then it's like, yeah, this is World of Warcraft 1 server. Enjoy your 2-day wait time.
And you're all gnome, right?
I'll never do that. Even when I'm sitting on FrazlCast right now, I could give you the cop-out answer. Of course, Frazley. Of course I roll a gnome. It would be so rude of me if I said I wouldn't.
I will hold you to it.
But I won't do it. I'll never do it.
You're now on record. You're on audio record. So we'll say you said on FrazlCast 77 that you would roll a gnome.
Thom, he's
starter. He's edited something together.
He's going to totally edit it so that you got you saying I will roll a gnome.
I could actually do that, but that would be dishonest.
That's mean. Yeah, that's fake gnome news, and nobody wants that.
Are you an alliance or a horde player? Because if it's you're a horde player, dishonorable is okay.
So I'm not horde.
Yeah, so I'm alliance. So
I'll do the editing for you then.
I'm supporting Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, right here.
Okay, yeah. So Ryan, I'll give you the whole episode if you want to edit it. That sound good?
Yep. It's just going to be a constant loop of Steve Irwin saying, "Crikey."
That would be great. Wow. No. That's Owen Wilson. I'm getting all my references.
I hate when that happens. Jeez.
Wow.
Michael Haidt and Mike Levine of Snaxaroth said, for us at Snaxaroth, it's a combination of a few things: story questing, character development, transmog runs. I love those. Now, Levine is way into PvP and has actually convinced Michael Haidt to PvP in Legion, and it's become a great way for us to plan our shows and catch up while getting an adrenaline rush. And then somebody in the community that we all know, Alessandro, emailed in, what I loved about Warcraft was the World of Warcraft. I loved jogging it down a dirt road, going who knows where to see what was there, what was behind that tree or under that lake. I remember my first druid learning swimming form and how excited I was to no longer need to breathe so much while exploring all the elven ruins underwater. I loved the diversity in each zone, the tree colors, the stone, the animals. I loved the little things each new NPC was interested in that wasn't tied to some world-destroying badass. Oh, wow. Alessandro got me to curse on air. Just a kid that lost a necklace. Oh, I remember that quest. Or two dwarves sitting on a stone wall reminiscing about that time they flooded Ironforge. I remember that too. I loved knowing every inch of everywhere. I'm still pretty good at Warcraft GeoGuessr. Oh, I failed that. After all these years, it felt like a place. No duties, no worries, no troubles. Just fishing, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the time roll away. No, I added that in. Running off to look up a new color of a favorite hunter pet, helping random strangers in need. I missed the feeling I had of home then.
Wow, that's just like you've done an advert for WoW Classic, Frazley. Just reading that.
Yeah, and I like that because Alessandro has moved away from WoW right now and has gone into StarCraft and is helping with the Pylon show. I was glad to hear what Alessandro liked. And yeah, Alessandro has some of the same issues that some people have. Like they were saying that the game seems like it's RNG now, that the game's always a grind to progress. And Ryan, I think you touched on that earlier, that right now there is a lot of grind.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of out of raid requirements right now in the game.
Grinding and RNG. You could have been talking about Hearthstone as well. You could have been.
But you know what we couldn't talk about, Thom?
Hearthstone.
StarCraft.
Oh, yeah.
Dead game.
Well, no. Frazley just talked about it. So
dead game. You can edit that out, Frazley. It's a dead game.
Okay, I'll leave that in. Just that way, if Michael listens, I gave Michael so much grief about StarCraft on the Blue Recluse, and I love you, Michael. I'm just kidding.
It's turning into a bit of a meme that I think it did upset some people that we looked at StarCraft that way. But the way I saw it was at least we were saying its name, at least we were mentioning, at least it still existed for us, because there's a lot of podcasts out there that, StarCraft, what is that?
Thom, I'll tell you how we'll change it up. StarCraft.
Never heard it on Blizzard Umbrella. They never talk about it there.
That's right. StarCraft. What a great game. May it rest in peace.
Oh my God.
And you know what game has not gotten mentioned so far this episode? Diablo. Oh, it got mentioned now, so there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse, right? Warcraft players, your main game could be Diablo. And I mean, we're keeping things positive here. So we'll leave it there. But there we go. If you want to feel good, go over to the Diablo subreddit. Take pleasure in other people's misery. I'm sorry.
I know two people who are on a Diablo podcast, and I give them so much credit that it's hard finding stuff to talk about with WoW. So I give you so much credit on the Diablo podcast.
What podcast is that? I actually like Diablo, so I wouldn't mind listening to that.
The Shattered Soulstone.
Yeah, no, big kudos to it as testimony to, people having that passion that they, even when they're not getting the content, that they can still come together and they're like, yeah, we love this game. And right now it's not getting, the love or deserve it needs, but, it's not going to stop us from still having this passion and talking about it. And, I feel like it's an easy trap to fall into, especially when things aren't going so well, that you can just sit down every week and manifest the negativity of everything that's going wrong. And actually, Frazley, I mentioned this to you before the show earlier today, and I know the guys over at the Blue Recluse talked about it very briefly on the last episode, which I wasn't there for, but they were talking about how they were maybe going to the forums, or I think it was Marty, he was like going to the forums or Reddit or somewhere and reading about people being negative. And I found it myself that the more I read and look at people talking negative, and maybe some people have some good points, but surrounded by that, you've got a lot of people just talking crap. The more you read that, suddenly you just start to feel this pull on yourself that you're like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be feeling positive about this game. Maybe this game isn't good. Maybe it's bad. Maybe I should be feeling bad as well. And you start to feel negative. You start to feel inside that you log in and you're like, oh, there's so many people complaining. There's so many people unhappy, and and it definitely has an impact on you. And I try and find it way more refreshing just to surround myself with people that are like, yeah, I'm enjoying this, I like this. And that's not necessarily saying that we don't talk about things that maybe could be improved on, but there's a way to do it. Kicking and screaming is definitely not one way to do that. Also, you've got to have a bit of understanding with these things as well, because like we've talked about, changes can take time. When you have been invested, which again we mentioned for so long, you do give something the benefit of the doubt to maybe change, or you stick with them because of that time commitment that you've put into it.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, I've questioned again, why did I pick WoW as the game I podcast about? I mean, because every week it's a commitment. Record it, to edit it, to come up with the discussion for it. And I find it's all the things we've talked about. I mean, it's not a perfect game, and I don't ever want to be somebody that someone's like, oh, Frazley always says optimistic things about World of Warcraft. It's like, no,
Blizz shill. He's a Blizz shill.
Not until Blizzard starts paying me, and then even then, I don't think Blizzard would.
It's easy to focus on negative things and forget about what you enjoy, and I think it's kind of a good subject that you put together here tonight, Frazley, because it just makes you stop and think about, what gives me good feelings in Warcraft. And there's still, there's a lot of history there. And I think when you play it for that long, the history does carry through a great part of that, and the community as well. But that is still part of that universe for me. Maybe some people, look at solely the game, and that's okay as well, because, that is the product that we're talking about. But I think, when you do the content creation, that you step outside that box a little bit more. You want to stay positive, maybe more than someone's that's just playing the game. Because if you're going to sit down with people and talk about things on the Blue Recluse, if you were looking for this 100% reliable news source, everything is factually correct, and you're going to get the most optimal tips to progress, you're not going to get it in the Blue Recluse, because we just sit down and we kind of goof about it maybe it's mainly me because when I'm not there, it's way more serious. But we like to have a lot of fun and just have a laugh and catch up with things in news. If something's like, they're not fixing this yet, but we don't get hung up on things like that. We try and look at things and go, well, they're doing this, and that could be exciting. What could it be? We like to speculate and conjure things up in our head that we really want to happen that never happen because we're just being way too ambitious. But we did get that Deckard Cain and Heroes of the Storms. That was pretty good. And that's one thing to take off the Blizzard BlizzCon prediction show this year. But it's just the way I try to approach things. Everything in life is just, things are not going the way I want it to, but how can I improve this? Or, what can I do to make myself feel better about that? And sometimes, the action you have to take is maybe not the action you want to take, but it's a results business. And, I don't want to be beating my head against the wall about something that's not making me happy because time is precious. Time is precious. Right, Ryan?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think that's a really good point to make because to kind of bring in my WoW perspective on the issue, right now we're at that point in the expansion where you kind of get to that point where a lot of the initial surge of people that came back to the game, a lot of them find out or remember that their requirements aren't necessary for them. And so they burn out, they leave, whatever. And so we're dealing with that. We're also dealing with the new group coming together. And so some people arguably are struggling to be, mythic quality raiders. And there's just a lot of growing pains with the new guild, especially at the mythic level. And some of the people who are up to snuff and have been mythic raiders for a while now are getting frustrated. And one of the points I always make, there is absolutely 0 point in us getting pissed, yelling at people, being toxic, because it's not going to solve the problem. So either offer a productive solution, or if you can't tolerate the alternative, which is, to not say anything and just suck it up, maybe it's a sign that this isn't for you. Maybe you should step away. And anybody that leaves for this matter, I've already said it once on today's show with Frazley here, if you need to feel like you need to step away, my full blessings. Go do what's going to make you happy. And like Thom said, sometimes making some of those decisions isn't the decision that you want to make, but it's the decision that you need to make. And I think that's part of being an adult, is recognizing that and having the gumption to act upon it accordingly, like an adult.
I've not been with WoW its entire history. I was here for vanilla. I left in 2006 before Burning Crusade. I came back for a little bit of Cataclysm and then left. And I've only been full bore since the end of Warlords. And the reason I left was it was life. The game wasn't jiving with me at that point.
Oh, you can't be an official unofficial Warcraft podcast if you didn't play during Wrath of the Lich King, Frazley. I'm sorry. I mean, okay, any opinion you have about Warcraft is now irrelevant because you did not play during World of Warcraft's finest hour.
So my credibility comes up short.
Yeah. Short.
I echo what you say, Ryan, that sometimes you have to step back if it's not working with you, because at the end of the day, it is a game, and none of us are getting paid to do this. Do method raiders get paid?
Yeah, they get paid in Red Bull.
Okay.
Yeah, I think don't quote me on this because they keep a lot of it in-house, but I do believe that depending on their tenureship and how their vetting process goes, Sko and his team have it set up to be where they all get some of the divvied out some of the money that comes through all their sponsorships and stuff. Okay.
They can play even if they're not loving the game.
Mm-hmm. But I do know they still have some raiders that still work during the day because their main healer, arguably when they killed Mythic Cahoon for World First, was on his way home from work and his car broke down, so he wasn't able to be there.
Oh, ow.
Yeah. Not all of their players have the luxury of, playing WoW full time.
But that's the dream, being able to play WoW.
Right.
Though then would it be fun if it was work? And if you want to answer our Ask the Question, email us, tweet us, call us, and I'll read more of the answers off on the next episode because I want to know why you still love WoW. Well, looking at the time, I'm looking at my belt.
Your waste of time. Yep. I don't want to look at your belt. You look at the time.
Okay. Yep. It is time to. Well, thank you both for joining us tonight on FrazlCast. And where can we find you on the interwebs?
If you want to find me, you can find me on my personal show that I do with Marty from the Recluse. The show is called The Raiders Confessional, where we are joined by my other friend, Oreo, and we talk all things endgame PvE-wise in the world of Azeroth. And that's more of a deep dive show where we really look into specific issues that are centered around the Mythic Plus scene or the high-end raiding scene. And we dive into, the different roles and how certain raids are for those roles. We look at all the bosses. We bring on guests like we've had Ask Mr. Robot, Raider.io on, and that kind of stuff. It's really fun. It's a really deep dive, very specific show. We have a lot of fun there. And you can also find me with Thom and 3 other knuckleheads over on Nerd This.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun over there.
And then Ryan has a lot of fun on the Raiders Confessional with the spreadsheets. Every time I tune in, I see a spreadsheet. I'm like, wow.
We did use a lot of spreadsheets for a while there.
And I tuned in, I think, a month ago when I saw spreadsheets. So you all know your chops there. So I'm impressed.
We try to.
Everyone likes a good spreadsheet. I mean, come on. Even if you don't play Warcraft, but you love spreadsheets, just go watch it. It's a no-brainer.
Dusty especially loves spreadsheets.
Mm.
Well, in some shows use spreadsheets for their show notes. Ours uses Google Docs. And then, Thom, do you use a spreadsheet on the shows you're part of?
I do not. No, I don't. I don't know why. Maybe I should. I feel like I should right now because I love spreadsheets. But yeah, like Ryan says, we're over on Nerd This. You can find us on those podcast catchers and social media, Nerd This Podcast. Having a lot of fun over there. Talk about nerdy stuff. And yeah, latest episode was about the Spider-Man game on PS4. I was not on that one, but we had a very special guest to talk about that open world game, which is doing pretty well. People seem to be enjoying it. So definitely give that a listen. We've got a kind of a backlog of stuff that might interest you, trying to keep it slightly evergreen that you can go back and maybe, get some benefit out of older issues, as we're calling them. And you can find me with 2 of those guys from Nerd This, Marty and Michael, on the Blue Recluse, where every week we talk about Blizzard games, having a lot of fun talking about Blizzard games, trying to focus on the good side of Blizzard games as I hit the desk here with my elbow. Ow! In excitement to tell you that. But yeah, we stream that over on Twitch at the Blue Recluse, and you can find us on social media, the Blue Recluse, and the website is thebluerecluse.com.
No .eu?
I don't want to confuse people. That's the kind of thing I do. We do have a .eu domain as well, but I don't want to confuse people by telling you 2 web addresses for the same podcast. I mean, who does that? Why? Just doubling the chance to maybe get a random hit from somebody. Sometimes they're like, oh, .eu. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the web guy. I do the social media. I don't deal with the web stuff. I don't understand it. It just happens. That's a lie. I actually do deal with the website stuff as well, but there we go.
And with that, I will head back to Ironforge. Well, I am famished now after chatting with Ryan and Thom. Thankfully, my friends Michael Haidt and Mike Levine of Food and Fury Podcast have the perfect snack. Prepare for your well-fed buff with Food and Fury Snacksroth Edition.
It's time to gather your sword and board. Let's enter the kitchen with Food and Fury. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Snacksroth Edition, where we deliver you a Warforged snack each week with enough buffs to help you with your battle for Azeroth. Whether you've made roasted boar meat or you've conjured a mage table, we welcome you to Food and Fury. This is Snacksroth Edition, Episode 9. I'm Michael Haidt. Joining me today, the legend, the druid, the PvP machine, Mike Levine. Hello.
Hey, Food Fam. Good to have you back. Glad to be back. Let's get rolling, Mike.
So, Mike, today we have a little treat. We are going to pull a horde no-no. We are going to do a little magic. We're going to go through a little portal today. And when we go through the other side, we're going to be pink, pigtailed gnomes. Now, with all the trouble that we've had on Horde side, with, corrupt war chiefs, rebuilding our cities, this is going to be a walk in the park. and it can't possibly be any nicer. Popping through as a gnome, where we're probably going to be greeted with snacks and lemonade and singing and songs and, I don't know, everything that could possibly go along with some pink pigtails. Now, when we do this, we just have to play it cool, and we have to just be the Alliance, and I don't think we're going to have any trouble. Are you ready for this?
Dude, lemonade, snacks, pink pigtails, count me in. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Let's go. Oh my god. We were really wrong. There are zombie gnomes everywhere. This is not the lemonade. This is not the snacks. This is doom. I don't even know if there's still a civilization upstairs. I don't know about you, but we are just in some deep trouble here, man. What do you think?
I don't want to go back out there.
Very impressive. Please note that any appearance of danger is merely a device to enhance your testing experience.
Testing experience? What are you kidding me? Let's just get out of here, man. How do we get out of this elevator to go up?
For your own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from through no fault of the Enrichment Center. You have managed to trap yourself in this room.
All right, I think I got the elevator moving. Dude, with these zombie gnomes running around, I'm going to sleep with the lights on for months.
All right, I think we're going to make it out of Gnomergon, man. Do you think anyone's still alive?
Apparently, if we want to stop this zombie apocalypse, according to these punch cards, we have to burn their bodies and sever their heads. Dude, this is not what we were hoping to do.
I just want to go back to Mulgore and Moo.
Calm down, my cow friend. Let's just open the door. I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation.
That's it. We've reached the end. The whole world is gone, and I didn't even get my headless horseman mount.
What the?
Hello, fellow gnomes. Frazley here. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Being a gnome gnome mage, this is such an exciting opportunity. And my tall gnomish friend next to me is a shaman. Not a shaman. He's a warrior, like you.
This year's Running the Gnomes is going to be gnomnificent. I bet you guys can't wait. This is my 16th year running.
Locktar. This will be an honorful day, my little friend.
And you might want to tie those shoes and put them on the right feet.
Yes, my friend. You will tread for them. You're probably so excited to start this race.
You must be super excited. What year is it for you?
Yeah, we've done this so many times, we've lost track by now.
Oh, us? Oh, we've been playing since vanilla.
Have a gnomely race.
Yes, you have a gnomely day as well, my friend.
Think we fooled him?
Oh, yeah. He totally bought it. All right, my gnome friends. Who wants to show me where the starting line is? I won't take gnome for an answer.
For this week's recipe, you won't have to risk certain death from a zombie apocalypse.
No, my friend, because we're not bringing you the whole chicken. We're bringing you the chicken nugget in honor of our nugget friends, the gnomes. Before this race is over and we go into maintenance, let's give our row at Rel Maintenance a delicious, easy-to-cook recipe for yummy fried chicken nuggets.
All right, Mike, what do we need?
All right, for this recipe, you're going to need 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts cut into small pieces, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of seasoning salt, such as Lowry's, salt and black pepper, 2 whole eggs, 2 tablespoons of water, 2 cups of seasoned breadcrumbs, vegetable oil for frying, and whatever fits your fancy for serving.
All right, so I got my mats. What do I got to do?
All right, so you got to first set up your little fry station. So what you're going to do is you get 1 bowl, and you're going to mix together your flour, your seasoned salt, and your pepper. Then you grab a second bowl, you're going to beat your eggs and your water. In a third bowl, you're going to add your breadcrumbs. What you're going to do is you're going to bread a few pieces of chicken at a time by dredging them in the flour, shaking it off, a quick dunk in the egg, and then rolling it into the breadcrumbs until they're coated. Give the bowl a little shake, and then with your hands, pick it up and shake off the excess, and place that in a plate or a pan as you bread the rest. Now, in a large nonstick skillet over medium heat, heat up about 1.5 to 2 inches of vegetable oil over medium-low to medium heat. You want to make it just hot enough so that it sizzles gently when you drop in the chicken, but not so hot that it browns too quickly. Carefully drop in about 8 to 10 pieces of chicken, and then use metal tongs to spread them out throughout to give them lots of room. Carefully put in 8 to 10 pieces, then just use some tongs to kind of spread them out a little bit. Let them fry on the first side for about a minute or so, then carefully turn them over when they're brown to the other side. In about 2 to 3 minutes total, the chicken should cook, and when it comes out, you're going to place it on a paper towel plate so you get off some of that excess grease, and then hit it with a little bit of salt.
If you want to go heroic, get yourself some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Toss it all over the nuggets. Now you have some sweet, yummy, barbecue-flavored chicken nuggets.
And if you want to go heroic, because some of you want to go heroic, grab your favorite flavored potato chips. Take that in a Ziploc bag and smack the ever-living jibjeebers out of them. Then you can take that in about 2 cups, replace that with your breadcrumbs, and now you've got some crunchy, satisfying, flavorful, oh so delicious potato crunchy chicken nuggets. Well, Mike, I think that's going to do it for our episode on delicious, crunchy, delightful, realm maintenance chicken nuggets that will make you say, who needs buzzard bites? All you have to do is just use a little imagination, pick out your favorite sauces, and go to town. All right, my friends of the Grummels, so I think that's going to do it for our Food Buff for All. With a little prep time before you log on, you can enjoy this delicious, crunchy, salty, oh so satisfying one-hander of the fried chicken world that will make you want to skip those buzzer bites at your local drive-thru. If you get a chance, check out our food and cooking podcast, Food and Fury. This week on Food and Fury, we're doing the real deal Holyfield of spaghetti bolognese. This time, we're really doing it, and we will not require a deal with Botswanity. You can find this show, social media, this recipe, and many more at foodandfury.com. If you get a chance, give us a shout on iTunes, even if your blood runneth blue. And of course, a big thanks to the one and only gnome that has Horde street cred, Frazley. For the Horde.
For the Alliance.
And for the food. And for me and for Mike, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael and Mike, and thank you, Ro, for the suggestion on the last episode of Realm Maintenance. Buzzard bites sound delicious. I could devour those all day. But before we start to boil and then head off in a kettle to eat these in a wake, I kid you not, these are terms for vultures. I think it's time for something. What time is it?
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So next week is Pod Before the Con. There will be 2 panels next Sunday, a Warcraft panel and a Blizzard panel. And we are part of the Warcraft panel. I'm so excited. And you know what that? We're on a shirt. We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt. Take a good long look at the names on the shirt.
Everybody look at us because we t-shirtin'.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! This is my last week to play that song because next week is the panel. Thank you to Tosh Mifune for the lyrics and thank you to Tosh and Ali for the vocals. You can catch the Warcraft panel at twitch.tv/ConBeforeStorm next Sunday, October 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then at a later point, the panel will be released on the podcast feed. With the fact that Con Before the Storm is almost here, that means BlizzCon is almost here as well. So Blizzard posted an update that at every entry point, there will be metal detectors and bag checks. So they said be sure to arrive early. They are doing this to increase security and protection at the events. And then if you're at BlizzCon, you can join the March of the Murlocs. This will happen on Saturday, November 3rd at 10:45 a.m. Pacific. So Blizzard has the details on where to meet. So this sounds like a lot of fun. You can cosplay with your own costume or the awesome costume on the Blizzard Gear store. So if you are in this, please send me your screenshot. I would love to see you march around as a Murloc because what if they announced the Murloc Allied race this year? That'd be really cool. And then Blizzard has 2 contests that are currently going on. There is a pumpkin carving contest and it ends October 25th. So if you listen on Monday, you still have a few days to enter. And there is also a student art contest and the entries close January 31st. And then Valeyard recreated Stormwind and Orgrimmar in Minecraft. I've got a link to the VODs. This is amazing. I used to run a Minecraft server, so I loved building stuff in Minecraft. And then Toasty on the All Things Azeroth Discord showed this Warbringers Jaina Daughter of the Sea cover by Peter Hollins. It apparently came out a long time ago, but I don't remember seeing it. Maybe it's just my short memory. But this is still really cool and very well done. And then Thist shared this hilarious video by Platinum WoW about vanilla priests. I played a dwarf priest named Broden, and I raided a Molten Core vanilla. So this video was hilarious and reminded me of so many things from vanilla. And then, speaking of classic, Wowhead is building a classic site, and all this stuff sounds great, except they own Thoughtbot. The only thing I would ask Wowhead, please consider using Thoughtbot somewhere in the new site. I just think it would be awesome to be able to say for Classic, go back to Thoughtbot. And as we march into Classic, you can have your Warcraft character march alongside you as a 3D printed model. So Blizzard has given vouchers to Nagura and Annie Fuchsia, and they are giving this away, and the giveaways end October 31st. So all you have to do is retweet and follow them and submit a picture from the Call to Arms Warcraft promotional site, and then you can have your character on your desk. I've got a lot more desk space here. That'd be really cool. And then, do you want to win an awesome dual monitor mount like I've won from All Things Azeroth? Well, they are running the contest in October. All you have to do is answer their question, what are you most looking forward to from BlizzCon? They will announce the winners on November 5th. So definitely enter, because this mount is amazing. It is a mount from Echo Gear, and I love it. And then community, you are amazing. So you raised $12.7 million from the Overwatch Pink Mercy skin and shirt that happened earlier this year. And Blizzard has said that the donations will fuel 3 critical programs that examine every aspect of a breast cancer diagnosis and will change the lives of women and men across the globe. The Blizzard has a post detailing where the money is going and which programs they're going into. And I love the transparency on the donations. And then last weekend was the Running of the Gnomes 2018, and it was a success. So my last check today, as of Sunday, October 21st, the total was 9,240 for the Running of the Gnomes team. Awesome job, community. And Drave said that 5.6 thousand people attended the event end game. So awesome job, community. And I wasn't able to attend because I was out of town, but I was cheering you all on from the sidelines. And then earlier this year, Total Biscuit passed away after fighting cancer. And Titan's Creed on the Blue Recluse Discord pointed out an article from ESLGaming.com about how Total Biscuit is going to be inducted into the Esports Hall of Fame at the ESL 1 Hamburg 2018, and Total Biscuit will be the first non-player. An awesome honor to somebody that we unfortunately lost earlier this year. Well, that is another packed episode of FrazlCast. Before I go, I want to talk with you about a few things. You might have noticed I've been making some changes to the show. I've been making different changes throughout the year. Well, this past week, I made a few additional formatting changes. I decided to drop the news segment. I will still have discussion-worthy stuff in the guest segments, but there are a lot of great podcasts and sites that do a recap of the news extremely well. A few of the podcasts that come to mind are BattleNet News, All Things Azeroth, The Frozen Nerds Report, and Lagging Balls. These are just a few examples of the many awesome shows. And Ro does this amazing segment on realm maintenance called Around the World of Blizzard in 90 Seconds. How do you do that, Ro? That's amazing. And I do talk about news, even if it's a bit fictionalized, in the Fraz Report. The reason I'm making these changes are that I want to make sure that the show is focused, and I want to give it my unique Frazly-tastic flavor. Some even call me Frazly Flav. Sorry, Allie, you are probably facepalming right now. Hey, good thing I've got a new emote. But one thing that is going to stay is I love pointing out things that are happening in the community. Like I was saying earlier, the community is one of the most important parts of WoW for me. So from the community, we'll be staying in. At the end of the day, when the games are all gone, what remains is the community and the bonds that we have formed and the experiences that we have shared. And I also made the very tough decision for right now to put the live shows on hold. We are still going to be recording Thursday nights, and I will be releasing on Mondays. But I have been running into a lot of streaming issues right now, and I want to give you the best quality I can. And right now, live shows aren't being reliable for me. Blast those old gods. And thank you to Missing Pharaoh for the bits that they cheered on the last stream. The one that ended because I could not get Twitch to come back online. But thank you to everybody that has cheered and has subscribed. All of that goes to helping improve the show. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at FrazlCast.com. Until next week, be awesome.
Tortolans shell out gold for rapid refreshment replenishment. It's the Overly Dramatic News. I'm Hunts the Wind. The Kaja-Cola Corporation didn't become the largest conglomerate in Azeroth by ignoring new market opportunities, and it showed its business savvy yet again when the Horde arrived on the shores of Zandalar. The Goblin beverage giant tried to introduce its signature cola to the new territory, but rapidly discovered that the local Tortolan merchants couldn't stand the taste and would not stock the stuff. The Goblins also noticed, however, that the Tortolans had acquired quite the taste for H2O from springs newly infused with azurite. Furthermore, given the shelled storekeepers' rather leisurely walking speed, they really hated how long it took them to trek to those often distant springs. Before you could say Gallywix, a new product and delivery chain was created, Azurite Agua, bottled at the springs and sent immediately to Tortolan stores via goblin-engineered wormholes. It has consumers camped out in the aisles, eagerly awaiting to hear the cry from the loading dock, "A water has made it to the turtle." Broadcasting across all Azeroth, I'm Hunts the Wind. Check out the archives at overlydramaticnews.com or follow me on Twitter at Hunts the Wind.
Views expressed are not those of Buxley. Buxley here to answer your World of Warcraft questions in this edition of Ask Buxley. This question is about raid bosses. Dear Buxley, I've always thought there was something weird going on with raid bosses. I killed some last week, and then when I went back into the dungeon, they were all back. What happened? I probably shouldn't be telling you this because this is one of the biggest secrets in Azeroth. You know how when you die you go to a spirit healer or maybe Blaylock? Well, the raid bosses do the same thing, except they have to stay in a penalty box for a while depending on the time of week they got killed. If they got killed earlier in the week, they have to stay about a full week, and all the other raid bosses make fun of them. If they stay alive until the end of the week, they only have to stay in the penalty box a day or two. You know how when a raid wipes and the boss disappears and then comes back a little while later? They take that opportunity to go to their own loot chests and get a bunch of stuff for killing the raid. And usually, if they're already there when you run back from the entrance, all they've done is take some selfies of themselves with the raid's dead corpses. They show those pictures off to other raid bosses at parties. It's kind of weird to me, but then again, I'm not a raid boss, so, you know. One more thing. You know how when you first encounter a raid boss that's a little bit higher level than you and it's very hard to kill, and gradually week after week it becomes easier? That's because they send in apprentices. And the really low level raids you can go back into and cast a couple of spells and kill the bosses, most of those aren't real raid bosses either. It's a guy named Bob who does it for extra spending money. Thanks for your question. If you'd like to know what I'm up to every day, follow Ask Buxley on Twitter. If you'd like to catch up on the segments you might have missed, look for Ask Buxley on iTunes.
Bob needs spending money, friend.
We are the Forsaken.
You're listening to a Corpse Run Radio minicast.
On the upcoming episode 44 of Corpse Run Radio.
Dolly and Dot are my best friends. They pull my wagon through dunes of sand. They have small teeth and they love to eat.
If you always wanted to know more about this song, here's your chance.
Well, hello there. You're talking to me. How's it going? Ooh, and people tell me I'm annoying.
And if you still haven't figured out who that is, here's a clue.
I am 1 part whimsy, 1 part chocolate, and 1 part coffee or tea.
Still not enough? Well, okay.
This is Diva Marie Gregory. Welcome to Corpse Run Radio.
Dot and Dolly like it when I sing. It's soothing.
Those who do not stand with the Forsaken stand against them. And those who stand against the Forsaken will not stand long. Now go out, my minions. Let nothing stand in your way. I'm so sorry. Bye now.
Welcome to the Frazley Report, a short news report by me, Frazley, the awesome gnome, to deliver your World of Warcraft news. So with speculation ramping up as we near BlizzCon, the floor map has finally been unveiled. Already there is speculation going on. Roe posted a tweet about an empty space in Hall D near the Mythic stage in the Diablo 3 demo area. Stephen Stewart in the thread talked about the empty space in Hall C. Well, I've got news for you. These areas will be used for a new mobile experience demo. So our sources have revealed that Blizzard will be launching a new mobile game called Diablo. With the rise in mobile recently, Blizzard saw that the world of Diablo would be interesting. They wanted to use the mobile games to promote the Diablo series. And plus, Deckard Cain wouldn't stop talking in the Blizzard offices until they promised to give Diablo some love. So in these games, we will enjoy Diablo on the go, dungeon crawling and all that, and even looking for treasure goblins in the world using systems similar to Pokemon Go. Our very credible source told us that it will sync back to our Battle.net account, and they said they were a little bit more hesitant to reveal this. It will track progress for a yet unannounced Diablo game. Attendees to BlizzCon will be able to play Diablo in the BlizzCon mobile app right after the keynote. Virtual ticket holders, unfortunately, won't get this experience. They were hoping to, but some technical issues arose in development before BlizzCon. You may ask why I'm bringing this up on a wild news report. Well, this same source told me that if Diablo performs very well, we will see battle pets launching in the coming years. So there's hope for all of us WoW pet collecting fanatics. All of this news makes me super excited for BlizzCon. stay a while, and play. Well, this has been the Frazley Report. Until next time, be awesome.
Have you ever asked yourself what the world of Azeroth looks like from the perspective of a small village in Pandaria? Did you ever wonder what a weekly news show on a Pandaren college radio station would sound like? If not, well, that's probably a good thing, actually. But the creators of the Half-Hill Report sure did. So each week, your host, Tosh Mifune, that's me, brings you a short and very lighthearted view of the current goings-on in Azeroth as viewed by the only journalism major at Half-Hill Agricultural College. So join us each week on the Half-Hill Report as we share our small-town view of a very large world.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.